We have got a really unique conversation for you today. We're talking with Jennifer Lastra. She's the co-founder of 360 Immersive, and she is revolutionizing workplace safety trainings like what OSHA would use, using virtual reality. And she's doing it for a lot of scientific reasons and important reasons, but maybe not the reasons you might expect at the core level, because as you'll find, she has a really deep-rooted care for humans. And it might just be changing the future of how we learn. We're here. We met very randomly at like a local ribbon cutting chamber event, and we had a super interesting conversation. And it was enough to say, I want to get to know you and your business a little bit more. So just as a brief overview, we'll deep dive business and entrepreneurship and stuff like that. But just as a general overview, give us like a 1-minute breakdown of who is Jennifer.
So I would say that I am a very passionate leader that believes that I have some God-given talents. And I've been fortunate enough to discover what that purpose looks like for me and create a business around it. And I'm starting to build a community around it. But at the end of the day, I am the titles that I am also as a mother and a wife and a daughter and a sister and just somebody who's very, very passionate about our workforce and the next generation and leaving this place better than the way that I found it.
That is awesome. How are you focusing? Because leadership is huge for our company as well.
Yeah.
We're a people-first organization, and we care more about the human development. People showing up to work in a place of peace and joy and not coming to work in misery. We spend half of our awake hours working because money's required, but money's not the reason. So what does it look like for you to invest in the next generation?
It's seeing where there's the gap. And in my world and in my past, the gap was in a lack of confidence, maybe even direction, maybe a little bit of motivation. And so through my past experiences, I think for me, understanding how to develop the next leader is about understanding where the gaps are in all of us. And typically, it's not the technical side or the like knowledge-based side where the gaps are that are the most complex. It's the interpersonal and it's the self-awareness gaps. The things that make us human.
Yeah.
It's those gaps and really understanding what they are for yourself, not just intellectually, but also honestly looking at what those gaps are and when we see them in our team members, because if we see them in other people, we know that they're also in ourselves, right? There's that beautiful mirror perspective. But finding ways to help identify, acknowledge those gaps and work towards filling them.
I love this so much more because I thought we were going to start with like military and crazy background. And you said you have a crazy story, but really you're taking it to a place that's super near and dear to us. We just launched our CEO's podcast called Peace Inside, Results Outside.
Oh.
And it's literally about self-exploration and how that applies to business, leaders, entrepreneurs. We filmed 6 episodes so far. We just launched the first one, I think, this week.
Nice.
And oh my gosh, that topic is so important for the upcoming generation, because if you don't spend the time to do the work, you're going to be hindered in so many different ways.
Stress, off the charts. We're going to dive into a lot of this, but my little heart sings to hear that you all are focusing in on that. It's huge.
Totally. So we'll circle back there.
Love it.
In the meantime, tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey. Have you always been of that mindset, or did it just kind of land on you, or what was the process there?
So my father was an entrepreneur, and he was a solopreneur, and not hugely successful, but enough to more of a lifestyle business, if you will. So entrepreneurship has been around me since my childhood. I actually started working when I was 5. We had a family
There's
paper
surely not
route.
laws against that.
Well, it was a family paper route. And yes, that's working 7 days a week.
Oh, and so early. So early in
On the
morning.
weekends,
Yep.
super early on the weekends. So this was back when kids could have paper routes. And then, so it was a family event. I mean, it was one way to help contribute to our household financially. So entrepreneurship has always been something that I always knew was in the cards for me. I just never knew how it would unfold. I didn't know what that would look like, because after the military, for decades, I was chasing the corporate dream, right? I was on the struggle bus, climbing the ladder. And then some things changed and shifted, and I was like, this is my opportunity, and I seized it. So that's been about 10 years ago. I've been on my journey for about 10 years as an entrepreneur.
Wow. And to me, entrepreneurs look at life a little bit differently.
No.
It's always looking for the next thing or the opportunity or where's the gap? How can I fill it? Versus when you're just climbing corporate ladders, you're kind of like eyes on your lane.
Yeah.
Need to increase my skills and tools, my capabilities, so that I can hit the next level. Versus, like, I'm not about leveling up. I'm about scaling up. And that's just a totally different viewpoint to live life.
It's a different skill set as well. So mental view plus skill set. I think every entrepreneur is a little off. And I say that lovingly, and also, my gosh, we put ourselves through we create our own trauma for ourselves. We literally do. So any other things hiding in the shadows that you haven't worked on interpersonally, like within yourself, they come for you when you're an entrepreneur, especially if you're leading a team. I think it's probably the same way as a solopreneur. I don't know what that experience is like. Maybe it's a little less stress. I'm not really sure. But I will tell you, any of the interpersonal stuff, the mental health, any of those self-driving thoughts in your head, if you don't have that in check, it's coming for you as an entrepreneur. And not only that, you have this vision that other people are like, what are you talking about? I'm going to go do this.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that? I don't really know. And that's part of the journey. It's all about the journey. No, it really is, when you realize that at the heart of it all, it is all about the journey.
And you said that you've been on this journey for 10 years.
Yeah.
Is that when 360 Immersive started? Was that your first effort and first success?
So I was very, very fortunate. I have a business partner. His name is David. He is one of the kindest human beings I have ever met. Would give you the shirt off of his back. Very genuine human being. He had a digital marketing company. So in all, on paper, the company's been around since 2001.
Okay.
I came 10 years ago and at first was going to look at doing some consulting. This was my first bout into entrepreneurship because I had left the company. And I was like, I'm done working for other people. I'm going to go figure this out myself.
Yeah.
So the long and short of it is I took over his business in essence. So it was a digital marketing company and kind of grounded in graphic design, 2D, 3D animation. So had a lot of visual expertise, if you will, plus videography expertise. And about 10 years ago is right when the idea of VR was starting to show up in trade shows, and marketers were looking at it like, wow, what can we do with virtual reality? And so, we dabbled a little bit here and there with the technology, but I got really excited about it. Again, because because of my background, I knew where the gaps were in education and in training and in, honestly, how people interact with one another, the social aspect, the emotional intelligence aspect. I saw that 10 years ago, like literally instantly. The first time I ever put on a VR headset, because, to be 100% honest, I would have never considered myself a technology enthusiast.
Sure.
I'm one of those people, and I think it's very divine. I'm one of those people that tried the technology. I took that headset off and was like, this is going to revolutionize how we engage with others and learn about people, processes. And it was literally that instant. I was like, this is a game-changing technology. I don't know anything about it, and I want to learn everything I can about this technology and how it can improve us as human beings.
It's super interesting that you put it on this new technology. It's pretty fun for the first time, especially.
Yeah.
And you didn't go to like, ooh, here's how I can make dollars off of that.
No.
You're like, oh, I can learn a lot about people with this. That's an interesting, that's a unique viewpoint.
And I wouldn't say, well, what I would say is that everybody wants to make money. And with new technology, that's very challenging to do. And not only that, I chose industries that are not rapidly known for rapid change. Sure. And innovation.
Yeah.
So I like to say I chose probably one of the hardest paths. One of the hardest paths on this journey. And yet I know that it will be the most impactful. And that's what matters more than the money. I know what I've done the corporate thing. I made lots of money, and I was probably the most miserable I've ever been in my entire life.
Totally.
So it's not about the money, and I realized that. I kind of recognized that.
I recently learned that they actually have rehab centers for the ultra wealthy. That that depression with great wealth is like a real issue.
Yeah.
And I was like, it just opened up my eyes to that.
Well, I've never had great wealth. It's a problem I'd love to have to tackle at some point in my life, but I feel far more prepared. They say, God doesn't give you something that you can't handle, and then everything is in due time. But growing that level of patience,
sure,
that level of patience with so many things that I can't control has been kind of that's been my North Star, to be honest, is to just understand there's a process and to just trust the process.
And I want to clarify, I'm not saying it's not an expected outcome of wealth.
For sure.
I was just surprised that there's a significant portion
I understand.
of the wealthy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me more about 360 Immersive. When we talked, it's just, I never even considered how valuable immersive training can be, especially in the virtual space. So tell me about the application. I'd love to know about the tech stack and just open up the world to what you do now.
So at 360 Immersive, I always say the problem we're looking to solve is that traditional safety training methods are completely ineffective for today's workforce. And my niche...
What is traditional?
Yeah. So think of traditional training methods as instructor-led, virtual instructor-led, or online training. And our niche is safety. Again, that has to do with my background and I know what it feels like to be in an environment where I don't know what safety looks like, sounds like, and feels like. And those are very scary environments to be in, physically and emotionally. And so what 360 Immersive, what our small yet mighty team has been able to develop is we've taken a federal standard. So think of this as like workplace safety training. So federally required OSHA training. Mm-hmm. And people have to take this training. And it's all basically computer-based, or you have an instructor, could be somebody from HR, could be a safety person, but you're forced to take this safety training that is boring, lacks engagement, you got to take 10 hours of it. So people are like, okay, come on, let's go faster, faster. People are not paying attention. And the result of that is every year, and we'll just talk about the United States because this is a global issue. Every year, 5,000, 5,500 people are dying in the workplace from preventable injuries. And so we wanted to use technology and a new approach to training that would give our workforce, especially vulnerable populations. And let me be specific what I mean by that. So we're talking about people who are new to the workforce. So think of our youth. Sure. People where English might not be their first language, which is very common, especially in the trades that we focus in, construction, warehouse, manufacturing. People that may have require blended learning styles to really be able to understand what's going on. People that may have lower reading and comprehension levels. So we wanted to be able to use technology to give them an experience that would not only be more enjoyable, aka memorable, but also help change or create the behaviors on the onset that would be more conducive to them putting their personal safety, their ability to self-advocate for themselves and understand what their rights are as a worker, to be able to give that to them in a really meaningful way that would help them feel more confident in the workplace. And I think that's kind of the foundational element that's missing in traditional methods. In traditional methods, it's rote. It's like, memorize this, take this test, check the box, move on your way. Our workforce deserves better, especially our blue-collar frontline workforce.
I can hear in your sharing that you care so much more about the people and the safety versus like, I really need to talk this CEO or this compliance manager into purchasing my product so that I can make money. I can really hear that, and you care.
I do.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
So why VR? How does that help more than traditional methods?
So it's the idea of you put on a VR headset, and when you're in that environment, you're completely become part of that experience. So you become emotionally connected to what's going on around you. And because you're cut off from everything else, you're really, it's that experiential learning that we talk about is so powerful. That's what that technology affords. They say it's like walking in someone else's shoes. Experiencing something that you normally would be, too costly to reproduce or
Sure.
too dangerous, right? Those very basic, those very basic answers. The reality of it, no pun intended, is that you're experiencing something, and that visual, that emotional connection is what really it holds people captive to that experience. And now there's good things and bad things with technology, but the ability to create those experiences is unmatched by any other media today.
I can imagine dropping an I-beam from a crane for the sake of an example would be cost prohibitive. But
in a lot of different ways.
And so I've got to see some of the videos on your website, and it's really interesting, all of the different scenarios and the different applications.
Yeah.
Do you beyond, is there AR at all, augmented reality? Are there haptics? How does the platform work? How does the tool work?
So let me be clear about what it is that we actually produce. So we produce software. So we create the experiences that then are integrated into online training or e-learning, if you will.
Sure.
That's how it's being deployed today and distributed today. So we're 100% focused on VR.
Okay.
There are all kinds of applications for AR, and we feel the individual learner experience today is best, especially for, again, workplace safety, is especially well designed and developed for VR. Lots of applications for AR. It's actually just a little bit of a change of code and a little bit different deployment and the way that you interact with AR, but it's more mixed reality that we're probably the most excited about moving into.
What are the applications for AR that you see?
For AR?
Yeah.
Yeah, so anything having to do with maintenance, right? So you'd be able to take an iPad and, put it over a piece of machinery and, the diagram of it can, open and you can see all the different components and what you're supposed to do, how often you're supposed to be doing maintenance on it. Any type of piece of equipment like that, you can display right here on a table. You could walk around it.
I'm totally seeing like Tony Stark right now, just working with the little,
AR has a tremendous amount of potential for different use cases. And to me, technology is all about finding the right use case for whatever it is that you're looking to educate yourself on. And so our focus is 100% today on VR and moving into mixed reality. So
I'm curious because I'm truly ignorant to this. What's the process for actually creating the VR software? I mean, what kind of technologies are you using? How do you design the arenas that people see? Things like that.
Yeah. So I am not let me start that over again. So full disclosure, I'm not a software developer. I'm a businesswoman. So my team, what we've done is we use a gaming engine called Unity. And there's really a couple of different gaming engines, but we use Unity, mostly because we can do a lot of customization from there. So the idea is that we create virtual environments, and some of them to keep costs low, because we don't want the training to be cost prohibitive for people to enter in and start experimenting with the technology. So we create environments. We may use assets off of an asset store and drop them in. We may use customer-furnished designs of equipment or different types of tools that they have. We'll bring those in. So we use Unity as the gaming engine. We do a lot of different type of asset development using different tools as well to customize things and make them look more like daily activities, which is really important.
Are you customizing? Who's the architect that's building these arenas, and are the arenas custom to the person purchasing the software?
They can be. Traditionally, the way that what we did post-COVID, as an example, is we started developing off-the-shelf training. So we created everything. We took a federal standard. We started developing these environments. Again, looks like, sounds like, and feels like a construction site or like a warehouse environment.
Totally.
Those are kind of the ones that we have off the shelf. And then we have all different types of simulations and animations that we create to indicate different types of hazards depending on whatever the topic is of choice. So if we're teaching about trenching, we're teaching about all the things about trench safety. And then we've developed a trench that collapses, and you kind of get the feeling of having one collapse in on you. If you made the wrong choice, there's a consequence to that choice.
And I'm sure you're blending like OSHA compliance into that. So you build it around the compliance engine.
Right.
And then train to those scenarios.
Correct. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so it's what we like to say is our simulations are like the knowledge transfer check. So think of traditional training. You learn a bunch of information, and then typically they'll give you a quiz at the end. Well, what we've done is you still have a bunch of information today, and then you take a simulation. And the simulation is based off of the information, the golden nuggets of the information you just learned. And that's where you take what you learned and then you apply that into the virtual reality experience. And now can you apply what you learned? And so there's quiz questions and all kinds of other interactivities there. We use a companion character as a coach. We've done a lot of very innovative things.
Is there like a choose your own adventure style
There's
thing? You make the
pathways.
okay, wow.
Yeah.
That's neat.
And then also remember that these are, 3 to 5 minutes in length. So we keep everything very concise. We keep the learner very much on task, because a lot of us could be like, oh, let's go up here on the edge of this and like see if we can jump off. And, when people are in a video game environment, they're going to try to, do random
Find
things.
the edge of the map.
Where's the Easter egg in this one? And so, we keep things focused because time is money. And when people are training, they're not working and producing more value for the company. So we have to be thoughtful about what we create in that regard.
And you said earlier that it was like you have to have 10 hours of training. Does that apply to the VR specific? Like, do you have 10 hours of VR, or is it VR supplements like the written and the learning and the reading?
Right. So the experiences, the simulations are a supplement to however they train their safety, their safety.
Yeah.
However they, trainers do that, or if it's self-paced. So it's very concise. Again, it's just that knowledge transfer check. And there's some unique things. Not everybody's going to put on a VR headset. I'll tell you, I'm the person that also checks all of our training content before it goes out for nausea, because and this is like a little fun fact if you think of it this way. So if you traditionally get sick sitting in the back seat of a car when someone else is driving, VR may not be a good modality for you to train with. And so knowing that, we have also kind of like gamified all of our training so that you can also take it on an iPad, a tablet, or like desktop.
So then employers don't have to go find a different thing because their person gets car sick.
Yeah, and not every company can afford, a $300-400 VR headset.
Yeah.
And so the ability to allow people to train however they want to consume that content. And then remember, we're talking about like 4 or 5 generations in the workforce right now, right? So you get an 18-year-old, he's like, give me the headset. You get like a 60, 65-year-old who's been taking safety training their whole life, and they're like, I'm not putting on a headset. just give me the training. So we make it still interactive and engaging that way as well, which is not very typical in our space, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
that is interesting. You mentioned you're not necessarily a technologist, but you are a businesswoman.
Yes.
And I would love to spend some time talking about the business journey. We touched on you as an entrepreneur, but let's talk about the actual scale of business. What were the lessons you learned early on? Things like that. So what can you tell me about just how you've scaled over time to become a profitable, successful business?
Everything changed when COVID hit for everybody.
Yeah.
Small businesses were affected across the board. All businesses were affected across the board. Let me, keep it real here. For us, the end of 2019, we were set to hit $1 million in revenue. And it was like, this is our breakout year. Like, everything is going amazing. Here we go. Here goes the technology. People are experimenting. I had more opportunities than not to produce content. It was all custom at that time. But when COVID hit, a lot changed for our business because we were doing a lot of 360 video production work. Again, part of our legacy was the ability to use graphic design and videography to create these very memorable short experiences that impact behavior. And so 360 video was something we were really excited about. And even today, I'm still very excited about the technology. But when COVID came, it shut down all production. We couldn't get into spaces. We couldn't produce content and then safety people were running around trying to figure out how to keep their workforce safe. And it just became very, very, very challenging.
Well, I'm sure it shut down a lot of the workforce as well, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Did that negatively impact because there's just less
did.
people able to show up to work?
So what negatively impacted us was that we went from custom VR production to having to let all those contracts go for good cause, and shift gears towards developing off the shelf, because then everybody went to online training.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, ugh, and it was always something I had wanted to do. I mean, software as a service is a beautiful business model.
Totally.
I'm all about making money while I'm laying on the beach, relaxing. So
Is that what we do here? I don't feel like we do.
in my mind, it still is the business model, is software as a service, build it once, continue to iterate, add value to it over time,
Sure.
and generate revenue. You know, it's kind of sunk in the beginning. So we switched business models. And one of the biggest lifelines that the government did was, and I call myself the poster child for small business loans, the SBA programs, they kept providing money to small businesses. I can only speak for small businesses, for all businesses, but that lines of credit. And because every time I turned around, there was a lifeline, I took it. And so what winds up happening is I kept my team. I think we were at close to 6 or 7 developers at that time, and they're not inexpensive traditionally. I kept a lot of people employed through all of COVID and kind of the aftermath of it. And then there was this reckoning of, and we were developing off-the-shelf courses and content and trying to figure out, what does this look like? And we developed our own proprietary tool set so that we could modularly build our content. So scaling, let's just say I had, and I still do, have gaps in my skill set as a CEO. So my goal was to keep everybody employed. My goal was to develop a library of content, and marketing and scaling the business was a complete afterthought. It was true survival mode.
Interesting.
And at the same time, like many people, I was dealing with my own mental health challenges. Figuring out, what do I do? Like, not only do I have to worry about myself, my family, I've got to worry about these other people. And, oh, yeah, by the way, my life savings is tied up into this business.
Mm-hmm.
On paper, I should have closed my business. But that's when I said originally, entrepreneurs kind of aren't right. Like, I do believe we should have our own 1888 number for, when they have the hotlines for people that have gambling problems. They should have those for entrepreneurs, because a lot of us are so mission-driven, purpose-driven, just driven by sheer passion to make a difference that you can't give up. It's like there's no quitting. And especially that's how I was raised. You don't quit. You figure out another way. You found out a way that didn't work and you keep going. So when you ask the question about scaling, I mean, it's a tough it's a tough answer, because I'm still trying to figure that out.
Have you identified your constraints for it? Where is the difficulty for scaling?
For me, I'm still a sweet, awesome, little-known secret in Boise, Idaho. And I think
so marketing,
sales and marketing.
Yeah.
And probably another constraint is perfectionism and wanting the content. Everybody in software knows you get your MVP together, you toss it out there, you get some bites on it, you get some feedback on it, you iterate. We've been in iteration mode a lot to make improvements for the user experience, so UI and UX, because we want it to be the best product that we can produce. And so, it's some of the, I didn't really, the only mentorship I've ever had, I've paid for through coaches. And so I'm a first-time entrepreneur, just literally, and it's awesome to say and horrifying all at the same time. I just show up every day and just keep iterating on it, and we're still here. We've found some ways, some really successful ways to bring our products to market through resellers and partnerships and kind of just distribution channels, which is my background also in sales. So naturally, you're going to lean towards the things that are more comfortable for you.
Can we jump into that? Because I'm marketing background, super curious.
Yeah.
How do you incentivize your affiliates?
So our strategy is a revenue share, which is very, very common in training and education. So because I don't have a sales and marketing team, I leverage my partners' sales and marketing teams.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And then we revenue share when because they also have the distribution channels, right? They have so think of online training companies. They already have a client base. I mean, we're a company coming out of nowhere jumping into safety training.
Sure.
Right? We didn't have a following and a customer base. This is something that we've had to, get into and kind of find our pathway of least resistance.
And you said at the beginning that you started as digital media.
Yeah.
So you already have your graphic designers and videographers. So you've got the content team there.
Yeah.
Do you have a plan for bringing in a head of marketing that can really design some additional, what does your paid outreach look like? What does your organic outreach look like?
Of course.
Is there someone already functioning in that position? Is that you?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yes. And honestly, my current marketing strategy really, and it has tons of opportunity. It's probably the biggest opportunity that we have for massive explosive growth is through marketing. Currently, what we're doing is I'm doing a lot of webinars for our partners and evangelizing the technology and educating their customer base. Guest blog writing, doing interviews, those types of things, going to events and partnering and demonstrating the technology, if you will, more speaking opportunities. So it's more of that type of education and outreach than it is paying for ads and, more like hardcore, digital marketing, doing email outreach and things like that.
What I'm hearing, and I'm just exploring with you.
Yeah.
You'll do a webinar.
Yeah.
Probably on someone else's platform.
Sure.
And then, so they have their tribe, their followers, and then you go to a speaking engagement. And so you're speaking to the eyeballs or the ears of the people attending that event. Mm-hmm. So those are one-to-many outreach efforts, but they're pretty limited still.
Yes.
So what's at an event like that with the limitations you have with your audience size, what's your success rate? How do you get your customers out of something like that? What's the ratio of speaking events to acquiring a client?
We traditionally today, and this model is shifting. Today, I don't really sell very much direct. I'm getting SEO and things coming in off the website where I wind up closing deals, and those are actually they close fairly frequently and relatively easily, believe it or not, because we're selling licenses and things like that for trainers, individual trainers or groups of trainers. That seems to be, work just fine. My goal was to position myself as a subject matter expert in the space and elevate myself in that way to be seen as an expert. And so, again, I'll say there's a lot of opportunity for us to grow our one-to-many type outreach that I'm still trying to get my arms wrapped around, and then, the finances to help fund that.
That's the opportunity I totally see. I'm there with you because you have your limited audience size, say an event or a webinar, and it's valuable content. The words you're speaking are of great value to the people that need to hear them. So how do you take that message and just put it out nationwide to all of your, your customer target titles or something like that?
Yeah. We were doing stuff on LinkedIn and things like that.
It's like Sales Navigator.
Yeah.
Who's your target title?
It's going to be directors of safety.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there anything that's stopping you from just saying, I'm going to do this huge meta campaign for those titles or those roles?
So my biggest challenge with social media is that I'm not a believer. And that's insane. And I don't mean that I'm not a believer of the power of it.
Uh-huh.
I'm one of those that feels like at times it does a lot more harm than it can do good.
Sure.
And I get to get over that.
On a personal level,
Yeah.
I'm so there with you. I am very rarely on social media of any kind for my personal use.
Yeah.
I'm on social media all the time
Business.
for business.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer that as of right now, and really since it started, Meta and back then Facebook is the cheapest, best way to get in front of a ton of people.
Yeah.
And their algorithm is so good at what it does to make sure that it's, you're A/B testing and it gets to those right people.
Yeah.
And if you're doing a lot of organic content already, just try this one on. Find the pieces that I don't know if are you posting your webinars to social media or are you just
Our channel partners are.
channel partners?
Yeah.
So get a report from them that shows which pieces are going viral.
Yeah.
And then take that and add on a 5-second call to action at the back end of it, and then do a bunch of paid advertising because it's already proven on Meta that it's working.
Yeah.
So just take that working piece of content, do a CTA, buy now, whatever.
Yeah.
And just put a few $100s behind that and target whatever manufacturing hub in the U.S. You're doing the hard part. You're making the content.
Yeah.
And the easy part is here's some dollars, and it's gonna work. I want to do it for you.
Well, I want to be your test case, and I want to be the one that comes back and says, "Oh my gosh, Eric, you completely changed my trajectory of my company with your brilliance and your subject matter expertise in marketing."
I'm a student. I'm a lifelong learner of people way smarter than me. My current man crush is Alex Hormozy. As you know, yes. I talk about him all the time. But there's so much. There's so much to learn, so much to do. And the hard part is so much to keep up with. The algorithms are just changing constantly.
Yeah.
SEO is most likely not going to be a very impactful focus because AI is so powerful.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. It may be the one thing that would that and speaking more, right? Those things consistently, I shouldn't say more, consistently, adding value consistently, those are the things that would absolutely help my company the most. And they're overwhelming for me. It's my least strong skill set. And what do they always say to do with that? Give it to somebody else who's really good at it. Yep. And so it's finding the somebody else who's really good at it that could come in and help. I've thrown, hear me when I say this, probably close to $250,000 at marketing initiatives, coaches, people to help, systems.
Wow. Agencies? Are you going full-blown lead gen agency?
No, I have not gone to an agency. But programs, yes. I'm
going to connect you with a guy. I know a guy that
for me
that does smaller projects for us. He's got a really interesting value prop. And his sole focus is Meta, which is a place you don't like to live. So let him live there for you. But it's, I think it's, I don't want to throw out a number. I think it's $10K for 2 months, and like he does everything ad spend. It's all on him.
Yeah.
And then you'll see the results and be like, okay, now I want to hire you.
Yeah.
So I'll connect you later, but
Cool.
it
I'll
might be
take
an
it.
option.
Like I said, I showed up here today for you to school me on marketing. It's my Achilles heel. So that's the other reason why I'm here. So I
That's
appreciate
awesome.
it.
and for me, marketing is a really, really fun puzzle because I get to see all the pieces. How much does it cost to acquire? How much are you spending to acquire?
Yeah.
Time, money, whatever. Where are the things going? What's working? What's not working? Like, I love it. I go to coffee shops. My favorite coffee shop is the Argentinian coffee shop.
Oh.
It's the little grandma that makes the food for you. It takes like 25 minutes to get your meal, but she's like actually making the thing from scratch for you. And I always talk to her. I'm like, why don't more people know about you? She's like, I don't do marketing. I'm like, let me help.
Right.
I can't turn it off. So it's a big passion of mine. But
Yeah.
a couple other things. This is more on like rapid fire side of things. What's been like the proudest moment as a business owner and CEO for you?
Rapid fire, huh? To see the development in my two leads that have been with me the longest. Typically, I am people's just getting out of college, their first employer, their first real job. And to see maybe relatively introverted software developers step into their ability to run meetings, to answer hard questions, to tell the truth when it's a hard thing to do because the customer may not want to hear that. To see them really use their voice, it's amazing to watch. I didn't anticipate that with leading a team.
Yeah.
So I would say watching them come out of that shell and really show up and then stand in that space and truly lead, it's been amazing to watch. At least my two leads, both of them blossom.
I probably could have guessed something around people development, but I didn't think it would go towards developers. That's really interesting. and we're a company that has somewhere in the ballpark of 1,000 devs that do stuff for us from junior to senior. And I see those journeys all the time. We just got back from a call from a leadership offsite where we had our secondary leaders join us. Nice. And getting into the weeds of here's how to invest to get people to the place you just described. Yeah. And it's so much fun to watch. So on the flip side of that's your proudest moment. What has been the sketchiest moment outside of COVID? Like, was there one thing that was just like, didn't see that coming?
You know, the hardest thing I've ever had to do is let people go. Because in small business, it is family. And even though as a business owner, I need to keep that separated, I still care about all of their well-being.
Yeah,
and
totally.
These are people's livelihoods. So I think the very hardest part is letting somebody go, even if it's the best thing for them. Knowing it's the best thing for them, not just the business, that's hard. And letting somebody go for financial reasons is probably the toughest because you want to keep – it's so hard to find dedicated, vision-driven people that can see the big picture and want to be on that journey with you. Yeah. To let people like that go, it's really tough.
I get that.
Yeah. So I'd say those are the hardest. I love hiring, hate firing. You know,
they both have challenges and risk.
Love hiring and giving promotions and pay increases. It fills my cup. Bonuses, but the flip side is letting people go is the toughest for sure.
Okay, here's true rapid fire.
Oh boy!
Just for fun, I had AI create them based on your website, our website, and what you're up to.
Oh.
So I don't even know what they are. I'm just going to spit them out. And there's one question in here that's could have a funny answer.
Okay.
But what's the most unique place you've ever worn a VR headset?
Outdoor restaurant.
Yeah.
I'm
fair.
sorry.
No, I mean, in Dubai, riding a camel. Okay,
To be safe, you should be sitting down when you enjoy this technology. Okay.
if you could create any VR simulation for any experience, what would it be?
Mindfulness meditation.
Ooh, good answer. What's a tech app gadget that you can't live without?
A tech
or app?
or app. Insight Timer.
What's that?
Meditation app.
Oh, okay. Cool. Favorite innovation business podcast?
I'm a sole listener of Diary of a CEO. I mean, I'm on the bandwagon. I've drank the Kool-Aid.
Nice.
It's my favorite one. I listen to it every single day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How about your favorite book?
New Earth, Eckhart Tolle.
Okay. Awesome. What's something that you see people get wrong around VR on a regular basis?
That it's expensive.
Huh. Easy answer. I wouldn't. Nice. And then I love being able to invest in listeners. So what's the best piece of advice you could give someone that cares about technology, listening to Tech Talk podcast? What advice would you give them?
Technology can be used for good and bad reasons. Unfortunately, that's the world that we live in. And if you are going to use technology, be mindful of how you use it, why you're using it. Are you avoiding something and that's why you're using it? Overuse. And for those people who are developing content for technology, we didn't even get to AI, but that you are using ethical practices when you are creating content, and you are being thoughtful of not just this generation but future generations, because it's serious. And as a society, we have to understand what's coming our way with technology and the advancing of it, the rate of adoption. And I think there's so much good that can be done and so much opportunity. And we have a responsibility to do all of that in the most ethical manner possible. Words
to take to heart, for sure. Sit with those.
Serious, yeah.
Yeah.
I take it seriously, so.
Yeah, I can tell.
There's not too many things I take ultra seriously, but we have a lot coming at us, and
it's important to be mindful.
Let's go. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for the conversation today. This has been awesome.
Thank you for having me. Truly, truly a wonderful opportunity.
Thanks for watching this In Time Tech podcast. If you'd like to learn more about what we can offer you, please visit our website, intimetech.com, where you'll be able to see the different capabilities and technologies we could provide you in your business. Also, don't forget to subscribe and follow us to get more amazing content like this. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.